Welcome to all my replay viewers. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me. This is Marjorie Phoenix, author of the book Who the Hell Do You Think You Are? Founder of the Forgotten Women's Project, speaker and publisher. And I'm broadcasting today from beautiful sunny Florida where it's 72 degrees. You can find me at marjoriephoenix.com. You can find me on social media. It's Marjorie Phoenix. And I'm here on Periscope Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You get the glare, the light. I was actually supposed to be scoping later, like around 11, but I was taking I was doing my devotions out here this morning before an appointment, and it's so beautiful for November here in Florida, and I just felt like the time was right. That's why I hate really putting a time on my broadcast, but I know that's important so that people know when they can find me on. So I want to welcome you all for joining me. I'm going to keep this brief, but I do, before I get into talking about who am I and why am I here, I want to read a little bit, just a quick paragraph from my book. This is my book, Who the Hell Do You Think You Are? It's a memoir. And I share my story of going from an upper middle class stay-at-home mom to becoming homeless and penniless in 24 hours. And my 1.5-year fight to rebuild my life back with absolutely nothing, to fight for custody of my youngest child, and discovering that I was a victim of domestic abuse. So the book was published in December. And I'm just going to read just a little bit because this has a lot to do with what my topic is about. I have 7 afterthoughts at the end of the book, and this is afterthought number 6. If I were to ask you, who the hell do you think you are? How would you answer that question? For me, I would have answered mother, daughter, and sister. And although I am all these things, I am more than that. Yet I could not see beyond that. What I wouldn't tell you is that I also saw myself as a loser, failure, uneducated, just to name a few. I told myself in secret that I was those things because I had experienced things in my life that affirmed it. I had people in my life tell me so. There's so many of us walking around with a false sense of identity. We're telling ourselves lies about ourselves. We're believing what others have said about us. Over time, we lose a part of our true selves. That's why there are so many women in the prime ages of their lives just now discovering their authentic selves through therapy, coaching, or support groups. You're not your accomplishments, and you are surely not your mistakes or failures. I had come to a situation in my life where I had to get to know myself all over again. And I see a lot of us, and it doesn't have to take a traumatic situation to get you to that. A lot of us are in identity crisis, and we really don't know who we are and why we're here. Now, I certainly can't, tell you what your unique purpose is in life. That is something for you to discover. But what I did discover during a time where I had to strip myself of my false identity, where I had to let go of what I believed, who I believed I was, stripping all of that and really finding myself naked, my soul naked, my spirit naked completely. I don't know who I am. I don't know what life's about anymore. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this situation. And it is in that moment where a foundation was just dropped into my spirit. That number one, that I was a child of God. Now, in knowing just that simple truth, which a lot of us know, right? We know we're a child of God. What does that really mean in knowing that? What does that mean? And in that, it was like, yes, I know I'm a child of God. But what am I supposed to do with that? Well, when I went to the Word, or when I sat in silence, when I stood just in the quietness of it all, it was when the truths of what that means came to me. So that means basically I'm created in His image. I'm uniquely and wonderfully made. Now, all of that is telling me, wait a minute now, I'm special. And when you read my story and you see how what happened to me in that span of 24 hours and the miracles and how God was there every step of the way during that time, then you will understand what I mean when I say I'm special. But it's not just me that I'm special. You are too. Many of us. But in knowing that, what does that really mean for us? What do we do with that? Well, most of us do nothing with that. We do nothing with that powerful piece of truth of who we are. Because now, in knowing that you have been beautifully and wonderfully made, that you are a child of God and the potential of what you are here for, then you can walk out your true purpose. But too many of us, we're walking in this false sense of these stories that we're telling ourselves about who we are, and it limits us. And I got to tell you, it breaks my heart. As a woman that knows what it feels like to not have the basics of survival, like a roof over your head, not understanding how you're going to be able to feed yourself or feed your child, not knowing what is going to happen in the next hour, where your life is basically, there's so much uncertainty. I understand how fearful you can be. But when you know that you have God on your side, you can wake up every morning with a new, refreshed outlook and the opportunities that's in front of you. Now, why are you here? I quickly realized that I was here to co-create with God. I was not here to sit still and wallow in self-pity. I am not here to just struggle and suffer pain. I'm not here to be someone's punching bag. I'm here to co-create with God. And God only creates beautiful things. When I came to realize that, and this was a progression for me because it was a self-discovery process in learning that, everything about me started to change. The way I carried myself, the way I spoke to people. Literally, my head went from hanging down to being raised up. My back was straighter. And I realized that I could do many great things in this life. And I decided to do that. Like with the book, it just started with the book. And more things start to open up in my life as I believed in who I am and why I was here. Now, yes, there were a few things that I did along the way that everything did not work out the way I wanted to. But going through that process, it helped me realize that I could get over that. It's not the end. It's the beginning. It's a discovery process. And this life that we're on is a journey of discovery and learning new things, discovering things about ourselves, discovering things about people, discovering things about life. You know, they say as you get older, you get wiser. It is so true. It is so true. That's where the wisdom comes from, in the discovery of it all. and taking what we know about ourselves and being a child of God and so much more, and knowing that you can walk out this life in that truth, doing the things, the calling in your life, the thing that you were called to do. I always knew my calling was to work with women that have gone through some hurt, some pain, some obstacles in some way. And I tried to connect the dots on my own terms of how that would work out. And then it all came to this. It all came to my experience. And I can take my experience and help lead other women through their dark times. And not just women, even men. I mean, we are all here to serve one another. And that's a part of it too. Why are you here? You're here to serve. You're here to co-create, and you're here to serve. And you're here to love. And you just make that the basis of everything that you do every day in your life. And you watch the unfolding of beautiful things, and you watch the discoveries start to happen, and you watch the doors open and the opportunities come your way. That's who you are, and that's why you're here. But it goes deeper for each individual person, and so you're going to have to take the time to really sit still and meditate in prayer and discover that one thing about you and what you have to do. What hurts me is when I see someone say, oh, I'm waiting on God. They've been waiting on God for years. They've been waiting on God for years to show up. God's there. All you have to do is do your part. You don't need to sit and wait. Just do your part. So your part would be this month, if you would help me, and I've been asking everyone this month to help me in my 30 and 30 challenge. My book, Who the Hell Do You Think You Are? I'd like to sell 30 of those books this month, and that was a book a day for the month of November to help raise funds for the Forgotten Women Project. You can find the book on Amazon. You can find it on Kindle, and the proceeds will go to that organization. And to also just let you know that I'm going to be here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I don't have a set time yet, but I'm working on that. And to just share with you and impart into you things that I think that are going to make a difference in your day-to-day walk, in your day-to-day life, in all of this. So I want to thank you for joining me this morning and sharing space with me. And as I say always at the end of my broadcast, go out and change the world. Bye-bye.